Good morning. Happy Easter. It's Susie Q96 and her little 1959 1960 sidekick, Susie Smart. Yes, Susie Smart was real, folks. Right now, she's probably more real than Susie Q96. Susie Q96 a little under the weather today. I'm okay. I overdid it yesterday. Got a little bit of a headache. Uh, Excuse me. Also have not had my coffee. This is my coffee hour. Um, Went out to my sister's farm to start clearing some little pieces of soil where we can grow some food. And then sort of tried to show my sister how to metal detect, but uh, she thinks it's kind of a weird hobby. And she doesn't quite get. There's a car buried on the farm, and she wanted to detect around the car, but you cannot detect around a car because it's a giant chunk of metal. So that's actually going to have to be like an excavation project. Good morning, Jessie O. Happy Easter. Um, so that's a whole nother project there where that may be more like a bottle dump excavation kind of project. And I found a couple of odd things on the farm. I don't know what they are yet. I got to clean them up. And then instead of coming home like I should have, I went down to a school that I had detected several times. I didn't find a whole lot there. And then on my way home, I went by the local park, which I was not going to stop and detect there. Good morning, Mike Wolf. Happy Easter. I hadn't planned on stopping to detect there either, except that they had finally opened the playground section. The tot lot was open at last. It's been closed for like a year. And I saw people out there playing with their kids. So I did go detect there for a few minutes and found a nickel, a dime, a quarter, and a penny, and a couple other little odd things I found. But what wore me out was the working out on the farm. It's uh, where we wanted to put the vegetable patch had a lot of overgrowth that I was chopping away, and I kind of wore myself out a little bit. But at least I did not have the horrible pain in my jaw for most of yesterday, so that's always a good thing. And then I got up today and I looked in my messages, and I love people that are wussy. And what I mean by wussy is they will create an account, like a Facebook account. And good morning, Mad Stacker. So anyway, they'll create an account and they'll send you a nasty message, and then of course they'll cancel the account so that you have no way of knowing who sent it. Well, somebody came up with a new name for me. Uh, I had mentioned a few days ago some of the names that people had been calling me, snowflake and libtard and so forth. Well, I got a new one today. And I wish the person hadn't been such a wuss, because I would have had to give them credit for coming up with at least something that was semi cute in their insult. And what they called me was a streamtard, because I happen to use StreamYard. So I got called a streamtard. Well, they're gonna do it. Um, Happy Easter, Mad Stacker. Um, oh yeah, I gotta find my notebook. I'm not organized at all this morning. I wasn't sure I was even gonna do an Easter show, but then I decided that I would. I'm gonna try to go detecting this a little bit later. I'm just waiting for it to warm up. I found a really good spot the other day, and I only got to detecting it for about 30 minutes, and then I had to leave. Not because I wasn't allowed to be there, just I had to leave. A bunch of kids came there to play, and I don't like. It's not that I don't like kids. I love kids. I don't like detecting around kids because they have no limits. They run up and they're like, well, what is that? And they'll start like digging in the hole and I try to be real patient with them, but there are days where I just don't want to dig around kids. So I thought maybe I will go back to that place today, figuring that most of those kids are probably going to be doing Easter activities with the families, and they won't be there. Coffee's good this morning. I'm still working on my compilation of clips about how money was used to manipulate war efforts. But so I'm not going to go into those today. But I did find a good article from December of 1940, and it might be helpful to some of the coiners out there. This is kind of about what were considered to be rare coins or collectibles, some things to look for. But this was in December of 1940. So what they thought was, the really cool thing to have in 1940 may not be. Well, thanks for popping in, Mad Stacker. If you would be kind enough to hit the like button and the subscribe a doodle and all of that stuff, I'd really appreciate that. I'm on 2 of your channels. So anyway, take care, enjoy your day, have a good holiday. Before I get into reading any of the articles, I do have to let y'all know I will not, unless I get it recorded, do a pre-recorded show, I will not be on Friday, April the 9th, because I have to go into the hospital that day and have a bunch of gastrointestinal testing done. So I have to be there at 9 in the morning, and I'm going to be there most of the day. So I do not anticipate having a show on that day. Unless, like I said, I pre-record one Thursday night and just set it to roll on Friday morning. But those are some very important tests that need to happen. Another thing I'm going to do before I get into the big long article is get somebody entered in the April 12th silver giveaway. And we're going to do that by starting up the Nightbot. I forgot to wake him up on Easter. So let's wake up Mr. Nightbot. And we'll have him pick somebody out. And if they choose the correct critter, cat or dog, we will add them to the list. I have not announced what I'm giving away yet, other than it involves silver, and I will be giving away a Syntech 1,000 gram digital scale. It has a backlit LCD digital display, measurement units designed by grams, ounces, grains, penny weights, troy ounces, and carats. Has a stainless steel platform and easy calibration. And that prize was donated to our channel by Archaeology Mikey 007, who someone got him a scale as a gift, and he already had one. So he has been kind enough to share that to give away. And of course, then I got to give you a little piece of silver so you can weigh it. But scales are handy, a little handy thing to have, whether you are a coin collector or a detectorist. They're a real good way to sort out those pesky 1982 pennies that you can't tell for sure are copper or zinc, because the two will have a different weight. They're also good for detecting things like somebody's trying to sell you a fake coin. A lot of these articles I've been doing lately are about fake coins. So if you're interested in getting an entry, you need to post something there uh, in the stream, so the Nightbot will pick you up. And I'm going to let the Nightbot run for about 15 minutes. Yeah, this scale's a little small for weighing outgoing mail, but it's real good for weighing, like, I found some gold rings last year, and I didn't want to just take those gold rings down and say, how much will you give me for this ring? And have him say, oh, well, it only weighs 2 grams or 2 whatever. And I can put it on the scale before I take it down there. I know how much it weighs, so I don't get ripped off like that. Morning, James Eller. So I'm going to read the article, and then we'll pick some people to get in the contest. This article, I believe, was a regular column back in the 1940s in the Indianapolis Star. It appears that they had a whole page back then of articles that were related to hobbies. Of course, now we don't get that sort of thing in the paper. They think everybody's hobby is the computer. But on the same page, they had some woodworking columns, a photography column, a column about identifying heirlooms and antiques. It was a pretty cool page in the newspaper. I probably would have been reading every article on that page. But this one is a column called Coins, and it was just the person did not even give themselves a byline. They just called themselves the Old Collector. So this is what was happening in the coin world in December 29th, 1940. Uninformed but coin-minded people are apt to consider any coin not often seen in circulation as rare and valuable, even though its condition is poor and the date doubtful. Such opinion, oops, I forgot to put this up on the screen. Let me put it back up on the screen. Yeah, coffee's a good thing in the morning, isn't it, Mike? Yeah, before I get into reading this thing, let me get it up on the screen so y'all can follow along with me. Sometimes I paraphrase a little bit just because the articles get a little redundant. There we go. We should be up there now. Hopefully we can get up there. Share screen. Add to screen. There we go. Now we got the old coin guy up there. We'll get it straight here. Y'all got to remember, I do this show in the morning before I've had my coffee. my routine is to get my vitamin drink, which is like one of those emergency packets, which I mix in. I can't drink orange juice, but I can drink, oh heck, what is it called? Sunny D. So I mix it with Sunny D and get all those extra vitamins and stuff down while my coffee's making. And I take all my little pills, and then we do this while I am having my coffee and stuff and letting all the meds start to kick in. So sometimes I'm not the brightest color in the box. That's why I bring Susie Smart along with me. A doll from the 1959, 1960 era sometimes is brighter than I am at this hour of the morning. But anyway, we'll start over with the reading now that I have the clipping up on the screen and see what they have to say. Uninformed but coin-minded people are apt to consider any coin not often seen in circulation as rare and valuable, even though its condition is poor and the date doubtful. Such opinion is entirely erroneous, as a matter of fact. No coin is valuable, no matter how rare, if it is badly worn or mutilated. And many seemingly scarce coins are not really so, and can be had by the thousands if you know where to buy or look, as witness the Indian head pennies of all the dates after 1878. They were minted by the tens of millions, 50 million, and in 1907, over 100 million. Practically all these yet exist, but are hoarded up by thousands of people everywhere in the hope that they are worth a lot of money because so few are seen in circulation. From 1866 to 1878, a relatively small number were coined, the fewest being in 1877. And these dates in fine condition are really scarce. Coins seldom seen and even unknown to about everyone except collectors are the silver 3-piece cents, the smallest U.S. coin made. Do not, however, confuse it with the nickel 3-cent piece, which is still occasionally gotten in circulation, usually slipped by for a dime, which it somewhat resembles. Rare but not valuable. The 20-cent coin is also a stranger, and if one came your way, might be accepted for a quarter. But if you notice the difference later, you could probably sell it for $1. There is also a bronze 2-cent piece, discontinued in 1873, not often seen, but easily attained for less than a quarter, except, of course, certain year dates. Earliest, however, of these little-known but not rare coins are the first small cents, usually called white pennies. Now, see, I'm enjoying this article. I'm going to interject here. I'm enjoying this article because some of these coins I've never seen. A couple of them I've never heard of. And so I'm finding this article quite interesting. Back to the text. Since the beginning of coinage at the United States Mint in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1793, pennies, or more properly cents, were big, thick copper coins and a decided nuisance. In 1856, the mint experimented by making a trial cent of copper nickel, Same size of the cent today, but thicker. A few were actually circulated to see if a small cent would be acceptable. And since the people did not seem to object, in the following year, 1857, the large pennies were discontinued and the new type took their place. These did not have the Indian head, but showed a flying eagle instead. The limited number put out as a feeler in 1856 has become quite valuable, but the succeeding dates are still to be had quite cheap, though none are seen in circulation. Now, bear in mind, this was 1940. In 1859, the Indian head was substituted for the eagle, and in 1864, the metal was changed to bronze, since the softer copper nickel did not wear well. The Indian head adopted is really no Indian at all, but the likeness of a young girl, the daughter of Longacre, designer of the coin. So there's an interesting little fact. The Indian head was not an Indian. It was the likeness of the daughter of Longacre, designer of the coin. It was minted until 1909, when the design was changed to the present form, which shows a fine bust of Lincoln on the obverse or front of the coin, and the denomination on the reverse. And my article just vanished. Where did my article go? I bumped a button and I can get it back. I was almost to the end anyway. Review clipping. Sorry about that. Let me scroll back down to where I was because I was almost to the end. Okay. It was minted until 1909, when the design was changed to the present form, which shows a fine bust of Lincoln on the obverse or front of the coin and the denomination on the reverse. The designer being Victor D. Brenner, whose initials are on that coin. See if you can find them. Well, of course, now, VDBs are highly sought. So then at the end of the article, it says, for free appraisal of any coin, send description and stamp self-addressed envelope to the old collector in care of the hobby editor at the Sunday Star. So back in 1940, you could even write to the local newspaper there in Indiana and get an appraisal of your coinage. So I thought that was yeah, Pro Metal Detector says he remembers 1857. Yeah, sometimes I think I'm in 1857. So let's see who else wandered in while I was reading that one. James Eller said he's got a Keurig machine. I would love to have a Keurig machine because there's just one of me, and I have to kind of figure out just how much coffee and just how much water to put in. And when I stayed at my sister's, I got to use her little Keurig machine when I was living out in the cabin. And I really liked it because I could just make that one cup and it was perfect and no muss, no fuss. And then I had people gripe at me because they said the cups for the Keurig machine are not biodegradable, and the ecology people frown on them. But I found great uses for those cups, and I'm going to share it with you in case you do have a Keurig machine. A couple of my uses for the machine, because the machine only punches the hole in the little plastic, the little seal on the top. It doesn't punch a hole in the actual cup. I take those little cups and I use them to mix paint in for my art. But one of my favorite things to use them for is I start seeds in them. In the springtime, I put my seed starter in there and I start my seeds in those little cups, and I can fit a whole bunch of them in a box, and I just line them all up and I use them for seed starters. I use them to rinse my paint brushes in. So I do find ways to upcycle those little cups when I had access to them. Uh, yeah, I'm glad people are enjoying the articles. I wanted to do something that would possibly help collectors now, because there's a lot of things I find in these articles that I never knew. Like, I certainly never knew that the Indian on an Indian head penny isn't actually an Indian. How would we know that? It's not something that's commonly discussed. But yet, here in this article, we find out that it was simply the daughter of Mr. Longacre who designed the artwork for the coin. So that's kind of a neat thing to know. I did an article the other day about VDB pennies, where I found out that there are 6 or 7 different variations of the VDB. I had never heard in this article of, now I know what they call a 3-cent nickel, and they mention in here, do not mistake that for this other 3-cent coin that was the size of a dime. Now, I have never seen a bronze 2-cent piece, which was discontinued in 1873. I didn't know that existed. I've never seen a 20-cent coin. There were a lot of items mentioned in this particular article that I was not at all familiar with, and while they might not have been valuable per se in 1940, they might well be something to be looking for in 2021. Every time I read one of these articles, they might well be something to be looking for in 2021. Oh, hush. I accidentally hit the live stream going over through YouTube. Didn't need to do that. But yeah, I've been trying to find articles that would give us something different to look at, or a different way of looking at things. The other day I did some metal detecting articles, because there's always this great debate on how metal detectors were developed. I've heard everything from they invented it to try to find the bullet in Lincoln's head, and then I've heard medical reasons, other medical reasons. But so far, the oldest article that I have found actually credits the development of metal detectors to the lumber industry, where the machine, and they describe the machine, and it still sounds very much like what we use today, only of course in a much lighter form. But they were using them because lumber, when they started doing lumber mills instead of cutting lumber by hand, they needed to check and make sure that there were no nails or spikes or any kind of metal in there that would destroy their machine. So they would scan the lumber with one of those. Now, I discovered just the other day what got me looking for that. There's a gentleman that lives here in my building who, he's retired now, but he did custom woodworking. And I don't mean like chairs and that kind of stuff. I mean like in homes. And he showed me a magazine that had an article about him doing a large portion of the wood interior in the home of NASCAR driver Rusty Wallace. And a couple days later, I came in the building and I was carrying my metal detector, and he said, "Oh, you know, I have a metal detector." He said, "But I used it to scan barn lumber because he did a lot of stuff with recycled lumber." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "I have a whites that I used to scan all the barn lumber to make sure that before I recut it that I wasn't chopping into nails." And I thought, really? And so I looked that up, and I found references going back into the late 1930s, early 1940s of that being how the machine came to be. And then I have found all sorts of other uh, references, people claiming to have developed it for this reason or that reason. But thus far, that is the farthest one back I have found. Okay, well, let me see. We got, according to the StreamYard, we got 4 people hanging out in here. So let's see, only 2 of them have commented in the last 15 minutes. So the other 2 of you need to make a comment real quick, and we're going to play cat or dog. And how cat or dog works is I will have the box pull a number. I have 2 decks of cards in here in this box. One has pictures of doggies, one has pictures of kitties. You pick your pet, and if you get the right animal, your name goes on the list to win to check lumber for nails in the late 1930s. Because, you know, back in the day, if somebody wanted to put up, like my cow wandered off, they'd take a nail and they'd put a sign up. Yes, in the 1940s, Jesse. I'll go back and get the exact date on that article. It's in one of the first articles that I read. So anyway, we're going to sign up at least one more person today to have a chance to win on our contest on April the 12th. And so I'm going to have the bot is going to pick a name. You're going to pick cat or dog. If you okay, so far the 4 people who the bot have picked up are Jesse O, Pro Metal Detector, Silver Bull 30, and James Eller. Now, you can have more than one entry. So, and now Mike Wolf is back on the list. So, I'm going to have the bot pick a name, That person will choose cat or dog. If they choose the correct critter, they get on the list. Now, there are 4 wild cards in this box. Ah, there's Dirt Troll and Troy. Good morning, Dirt Troll and Troy. That means he'll get a chance. There are also 4 wild cards in here. If you get a wild card, you get 2 entries in the contest. Yes, and everybody please hit the like button. I'm still reeling over my new nickname this morning, where some chicken called me a stream tard. All right, so I got them shook in the box. Let's see who's gonna get to pick their critter. Jesse O, do you want kitty or doggy? And I'm gonna have to fix the camera because I have my camera laying down. Well, I like to have fun, but I still have that teacher instinct thing in me, where I want people to go by facts. I want people to learn. Jesse's going to the dogs this morning. Troy, I was real sick, and just the last couple days I've been feeling better. They're going to put me in the hospital and run some tests on me, but I did get detecting, and guess what? Jesse got her. Da, 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 a doggy. So Jessie is in on this one. She gets an entry into the contest. We're going to pull one more. I've been trying to put 2-3 people a day. I'd like to have about 30 contestants for the grand finale. I don't want it to be like a zillion people. I want it to be people that have shown up and supported the channel. And because I used to give away stuff, and then people would unsub and I would never see them again. And I did back in June or early July a giveaway when I got to 666 people. And after I gave away all that stuff, and it was like $200 just to ship it out. And then most of those people vanished, and I haven't even broken 800. So I've decided now my contests are only going to involve people that actually show up and in some way participate, because I'm too little to support the whole world. Let's see who else gets to pick a kitty or a doggy and get signed up to win some silver and a scale. Dirt Troll and Troy. Okay, Troy, you may not be familiar with the game. I have a box that has 2 decks of cards. They have cats and dogs on them. You get to pick a cat or a dog. If the correct animal comes out of the box, you are entered in the contest. If a joker comes out, whether it is a cat or a dog, if a joker comes out, you get 2 entries. So choose a cat or a dog, and we will get you signed up to be in the April 12th giveaway. So what's it gonna be, Troy? Cat or dog? Yesterday they were jumping out of the box. So as soon as he makes his big executive decision, we will get him a critter out of the box and see if he gets signed up on the list. They're getting a little rowdy in there waiting on Troy. I got a feeling he's probably in more than one stream. My wife likes cats, so let's go with the cats. All right, let's see if we got a cat in here for Mrs. Troll and Troy. Guess what we got here? We did not get a cat, but we got a joker. And like I just said, any joker gets you 2 entries. So Dirt Troll and Troy is the first person to have pulled a joker, and thusly has gotten 2 entries in the April 12th contest. Way to go, Troy. That was a pretty good cat your wife decided to like. And even though it was a dog, it was a joker of a dog. So, good job, guys. We're going to do one more, and then I'm going to find another crazy article to read. Let me see who. And by the way, I put the people back in. Once I've drawn your name, you can be drawn more than once. So I put you back in. So let's see who we get this time. Pro Metal Detector. It is your turn. Cat or dog? Cat or dog for the Pro Metal Detector. And then when I get done here, I will read you the list of who all is in the contest so far. Pro Metal Detector, dog or kitty? Pick one, dog, he says. We got another dog lover in the house. Let me see if I can get, I got to get a better container. But, uh-oh. That's a feline. That's a feline. But we're going to give him another chance because I just really feel strongly that Pro Metal Detector needs to be in here. And looky there. Da, da, da. We got a dog. We got a dog. We got a dog. That's all right. We allowed him a second chance, and he got a dog. He got a canine, a little pooch, little pupper. So we're gonna put him in there. You know, I'm not one of those tough stickler by the rule kind of guy. Yeah, that's a cute little puggy dog. And we're going to put the Pro Metal Detector on the list. And then I'm going to read you the list of who is in so far. And there are a couple people that have more than one entry because they've been drawn twice, but Troy's the only one that's gotten the Joker so far. Okay. So far, those who have an opportunity to win, the people who were drawn on 329 were Jaji Music Man Coins, US Silver Stacker, and McHammer Plus Art. The next group that we drew was David Carlisle, Hoover's Corgis and Coins, Combat Roll Hunt. Then I believe yesterday's bunch was the Telephone Guy, Kathy's Corner, Jack Gallman, Silver Bull 30, and today we got Jesse O, 2 entries for Dirt Troll and Troy, and the Pro Metal Detector. Now, I'm going to keep doing these right up until the 12th. And I'm not doing it by comment video. I'm doing it by people that are actually in the stream. because like I said, I gave away hundreds, and I probably gave away $2,000-3,000 worth of stuff in 2019 and 2020. And the vast majority of those people took their prizes and never came back. And I don't want my channel to be that. I want my channel to be you showed up, you participated, you socialized with the people in here, you enjoyed at least I think, enjoyed the content. And so those are the people I want to reward. So that's why I'm doing the contest the way I am. I just think that is a more equitable way of handing out prizes, because my financial situation has changed where I cannot do those kind of things. And my attitude kind of changed. I was watching somebody who has a very large channel, and he said that he did not give away a lot of stuff like that because he felt like he was trying to buy his viewers. And I have learned I can't buy viewers because they don't stick around. You give them the stuff and they're gone. So this way I know that the stuff is going to the people that are here, and they're here whether I have a prize going on or not. So that's why we're doing it. I'm going to read this one more. I did something about this last year, on a very small scale, but this is better. This is about the release of the Roosevelt Dime. And so I want to try and bring this up. A lot of people do not realize that the Roosevelt Dime actually started because President Roosevelt had polio. And they started this thing called the March of Dimes, where people sent in dimes. They had kids collecting dimes at school, and they would send them in, and it was to help with polio. Well, when Roosevelt died, who more appropriate to put on a dime than a guy who started using dimes to raise money. I'm having a little technical problem. So excuse me if it's not taking me to my clippings. There we go. Me back to my clippings. But who more appropriate to name a dime for than a man who encouraged people to send dimes for the purpose of medical research and to help people with a dreaded disease. Now, some of you are not old enough to even remember having to deal with a disease like polio, because you were lucky enough to have come around after inoculations for it had happened. But I grew up in an era where I had friends who had polio and died from polio and were paralyzed from polio. And I had one friend who lived well into his 60s and 70s, but had post-polio complications, which ultimately killed him. So the whole March of Dimes thing I found very interesting. And this article is from January 21st of 1946. And that is the day that the Roosevelt Dime was first put into circulation for the very, very first time. And of course, now, Rosies are, commonplace thing. But so if I can get on the right page, here we go. Okay. The new Franklin D. Roosevelt dime, the first of which was made in the Philadelphia Mint last week, was put in circulation today. Now, a little side note, this is 1946, so these are silver dimes. The new dime is the fourth portrait coin in the present Mint series honoring former presidents. The others are the Lincoln cent, the Washington quarter, and the Jefferson nickel. The FDR dime marks the first time in 30 years that a design of the nation's 10-cent piece has been changed. In 1916, our dime bearing the head of Mercury on one side and the fasces on the other was substituted for the former Liberty head dime. This coin was designed by Adolf Alexander Weinmann, a native of Germany and a member of the United States Commission of Fine Arts. He also designed the 50-cent piece, first issued that same year. The FDR dime carries a profile of President Roosevelt facing left. Inscribed around the left border is the word Liberty. The lower left field, In God We Trust, and the date 1946 in the lower right corner. On the reverse side, the torch of liberty is centered, flanked by the olive branch. I got to keep my hand off of the mouse. I accidentally clicked my mouse and removed my clipping. Okay, here we go. So, on the reverse side of the torch of liberty is centered, flanked by the olive branch of peace on the left, and to the right, the oak branch, signifying strength and independence. Now, how many of you knew that? I didn't. Inscribed around the upper border, as on the present dime, is United States of America. Around the lower border, one dime, and across the lower field, E pluribus unum. Some years ago, there was considerable discussion of the continued use of the fasces on the dime, which was first coined in 1916 and, as we noted, designed by Adolf Weinmann. Fasces are rods made into a bundle to enclose a protruding axe and were borne by the ancient Roman lictors before the magistrates as a symbol of office and authority. The fasces in 1919 was adopted by Benito Mussolini and his black shirt followers as the emblem of their organization. The Liberty head on the Weinmann dime is a conception of Roman origin. Mercury in Roman mythology was the god of commerce and messengers and herald of other gods. He is usually pictured with a winged cap on his head. So that is some very interesting history about dimes. Hello, Silver Stacker. Thank you for popping in and hitting the like. I appreciate it. I'm not going to stay on a whole lot longer myself. I got a place I want to go metal detecting this morning. I was just waiting for it to warm up just a tad. But anyway, there is some interesting history about dimes. I certainly did not understand exactly what the shaft signified, and certainly had no idea that there was any idea that anybody had wanted to remove that. So, yeah, there's some interesting things. Like I had no idea about the oak branch on the back of the dime, what that stood for. I knew what the olive branch was. So every time I read one of these articles, I'm learning something too. So what I'm hoping to do, and I'm probably not gonna say this one too much more, but I still think it's funny. My sister said that watching some of the morning streams that come on are like watching PBS, where you're getting 90 Day Fiance and the gossip shows, the Honey Boo Boo. Of course, I know that's not on anymore, but it was funny. But she says it's like watching that, and then like watching my show is like watching PBS. And I guess there's an audience for both. I hope there is. I would hope that uh, people would be interested in the actual history of their coins and not just that they can make a stack of silver, because I'm not a stacker. I'm a collector. I like constitutional coins. I mean, I have silver rounds and that kind of thing. Not a lot of them. I've gotten rid of a lot of them just because of financial whatever. But I enjoy knowing where the designs came from and uh, how they came to be, and the controversies behind some of them, which I clearly had no clue about. So I'm going to keep pulling these articles, and I'm going to keep pulling the ones about the metal detecting as well. Yesterday, I was fascinated with the kids in 1940s who used a town's metal detector to find a 3-ton piece of buried equipment that they could donate the metal to the war metal drive back in the 40s. They won the contest. Hey, Werner, we're just about wrapping up here, but I wanted to pop on for a few minutes and let everybody know I'm still hanging in there. And we did a couple more news articles this morning. I found my missing Canon camera yesterday. I'm very happy about that. This is my backup camera that I use out in the field. And it's been missing for quite a while, and I found it yesterday. I have to find the battery charger. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people, Mike Wolf, with the ZZ Top style beards, and I don't know. I don't like them, but I understand it. A lot of people just grew them because they were locked down and they didn't have much choice. Yeah, I particularly find interest in war era coins. Like I do have 4 or 5 coins from the 1940s when the United States was occupying the Philippines, And they are coins from the Philippines, but they also are United States government coins. And because my father was in World War II, I find those coins to be very interesting, even though he was not in the Philippines. My father was in Bougainville and Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands. He was put in for the Congressional Medal of Honor, but sadly, before all the paperwork was completed by his commanding officer was killed. But my father did get the Bronze Star and an immense other amount of medals. I have a letter from his commanding officer's wife where she said that her husband had described my father as the fightingest man in the U.S. Army. So I do have an interest in those kind of coins. I have a set of coins and stamps from World War II that I find interesting. And I also have some Civil War coins that a couple of them have holes punched in them. And I just know in my heart that some soldier left home with that coin on their neck, probably given to them by their mother or their father so that they would have money. Or it's a coin that they took from a soldier from the opposite side. There are so many stories that you could possibly come up with as to why this coin has a hole punched in it, who was wearing it. I have a couple of detectorist people that I know who have found German coins that came back with some American soldier who took it off of a German, and these are World War II era with swastikas on them, before the Germans ruined what that symbol actually meant, which that's a whole nother thing I might pull some newspaper articles about because a lot of people don't know. But anyway, like I said, I will be continuing to sign people up through right up until April the 12th, except I will not be here on April the 9th because I will be in the hospital having them try and figure out what's wrong with my digestibles, which have been screwed up for decades, but they're getting worse and worse. Here is the scale that we will be giving away. I have not made my final selection on the actual piece of silver or pieces that are going to go along with it. Right now, one of the top contenders is this silver round, but that does not mean that that will be the final choice. I just have laid some things aside, but it will be at the very least something along this line. So we got that happening. If I can find the last 2 pennies I need for this one book, we will also be giving away this full penny book. It's just missing a couple, and I gotta hunt for them. So, on that note, I want you all to go finish your coffee, have a wonderful Easter, do whatever it is. And you know, the sad part for me about that, Werner is in Germany. For those of you who do not know, Werner is German. So when he says things like this post that had ruined these old signs and ruined the old songs and they don't get to sing them and learn them anymore, he is speaking firsthand experience. He is German. I am speaking sort of secondhand because my mother's family, other than her dad's side, but her whole maternal side of the family are German. And one of my relatives went to Germany in 1939 and tried to get some of her cousins and relatives to come back. She had the forethought to realize something very bad is happening here. And she went and she tried to get some of them to leave, and that didn't work out so well. So then she went back again, and she was actually detained for a brief period of time. She had a surname that they thought may possibly be Jewish. She was not Jewish, but actually she was a Lutheran, but she was detained for a brief amount of time. And so I have, and she lived until I was in high school. So I have stories from her, from the point of view of an American going over there and seeing what was going on. So, you know, because my heritage is German, I do have interest in some of the horrible things that happened. And uh, I do always wonder when I find someone who has dug up coins here in America that come from that time period in Germany. Dirk Trolling Troy's probably dug one up. That boy's dug up half of Florida. When I get down there, I need to go detecting with Troy. He's an amazing detectorist. So, all right, I'm heading out of here. I want y'all to have a great Easter. I'll be back tomorrow. You'll see me twice tomorrow. You will probably see me in the morning with my coffee with Susie Smart out here doing the coin and collecting news. And then tomorrow is at 5 p.m. Eastern is the Lodo coin collecting show. Now, I have a call in to my bank. I didn't hear anything back yet, but I did put a call into the bank to try to get a box of pennies and a box of nickels. I don't have the money right now to get a box of quarters, but I do have car wash quarters. We will be doing car wash quarters. So you'll see me. If my health is hanging in there, you'll see me tomorrow twice. And we'll get some more folks signed up for the contest, and we'll have some fun. And we throw some crazy news articles in, and we'll just see how it boils down. So right now, I'm going to go. And y'all have a great day. If you have not liked my channel or subscribed to my channel, I would so appreciate if you would do that. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate every one of you. Take care. Have a great Easter. Don't overdose on chocolate. Bye.